blowing journey through the hidden psychological behaviors that dictate our every move. I know you're a focused learner, which means you don't just want random trivia. You want to understand the actual mechanics of the human mind. So today, we are decoding human nature. We're exploring the psychology of you. We're going to map out exactly how your brain operates behind the scenes, often without you even realizing it's happening.
To prove just how powerful and automatic your subconscious mind actually is, let me ask you a question right off the bat. You really love him or her? Notice what just happened there. I didn't mention a single name, but I guarantee that someone just instantly popped into your head. That lightning-fast reflex is your brain pulling up emotional data before your conscious mind even has time to process the sentence. That is the incredible power of our psychology, and it's exactly the kind of hidden wiring we're unpacking today.
Okay, let's dive into our roadmap for today. First up, physical cues and body language. Second, the psychology of relationships. Then, processing hidden emotional pain. And finally, we'll wrap up with how memory shapes the mind.
All right, Section 1, Physical Cues and Body Language. Let's see what our bodies reveal.
Did you know your body is constantly broadcasting your mental state to the world? It's wild. Get this, the average woman smiles about 60 times a day, but an average man, only 10 times a day. That is a staggering gap in our daily nonverbal communication. It really highlights how deeply ingrained and completely different our baseline physical habits can be when we're just expressing everyday neutrality or joy.
And speed absolutely matters, but it depends entirely on the context. If you're a fast walker, psychology says you are generally perceived by others as being happier and way more confident than people who walk slowly. A quick pace projects purpose, right? But if you apply that exact same speed to your meals, the biological reality is quite a bit different. The faster you eat, the more weight you are likely to gain. So quick feet give you confidence, but a quick fork just gives you extra calories.
Now, what's really fascinating is how directly we can hack our own mood with something as simple as a piece of fruit. It's like a literal biological microstory. Step 1, you eat a banana. Step 2, your body absorbs a compound called tryptophan. And step 3, your brain converts that tryptophan directly into serotonin, which is the exact chemical responsible for happiness. You are literally ingesting joy.
Our physical reactions profoundly influence our character and our internal chemistry. For example, if you blush easily, which is an entirely involuntary reaction, psychological studies show you are likely more generous and trustworthy than those who don't. But what about voluntary actions? While if you intentionally fake confidence, you aren't just fooling the people around you, you are actually positively influencing your own brain chemistry. Faking it literally changes your internal state.
Moving right along to Section 2, the psychology of relationships and decoding our connections.
Once we understand our own body language, we can start to decode our interactions with others. Think about your texting habits for a second. Most people naturally type way faster when communicating with someone they actually like. Your excitement literally accelerates your thumbs. And here is a fascinating twist on friendships. You know those highly sarcastic friends you have? Psychology indicates that people with sarcastic personalities are actually the most honest friends. Their irony is just a clever vehicle for the truth.
Laughter is practically a superpower in relationships, operating on a two-way street. First, you instantly appear more attractive to someone when you make them laugh or smile. It draws them right in. But conversely, laughter is also a brilliant diagnostic test. You can accurately judge a whole lot about a person's character just by noticing exactly what it is they laugh at. It completely reveals their hidden values.
And when you forge a truly deep connection, the boundaries of your emotions start to blur. When you deeply care for someone, their mood can literally affect yours through pure empathy. Furthermore, our brains often do this sneaky thing where they mask feelings of absence with frustration. If you ever find yourself in a mood where absolutely everything is irritating you, psychology suggests you're actually just missing someone. Your brain is translating that longing into annoyance.
All right, Section 3, Processing Hidden Emotional Pain, the Unspoken Struggles.
Peeling back the layers of our internal struggles, it's amazing to see how our emotional state heavily dictates our physical exhaustion. Happy people actually require less sleep to function in their everyday lives. Their baseline energy is just naturally higher. Conversely, sadness places a heavy physical toll on the body, actively increasing the urge to sleep more, essentially as a form of escape and recovery.
Let this number sink in for a moment. 80%. 80% of women choose silence to express their pain. That means if a woman in your life chooses to simply ignore you rather than argue, you need to know she is truly, deeply hurt. Silence is very often the absolute loudest indicator of emotional damage.
When silence isn't enough, crying takes over. Crying is simply how your body responds when your mouth can no longer explain the pain you're feeling. Now, people who hide their feelings often care the most, right? They're trying to protect themselves or others. But here is the warning. Pretending that you don't have feelings of anger, sadness, or loneliness at all will literally destroy you mentally over time. Emotional suppression is incredibly toxic to the brain.
This fear of emotional vulnerability can manifest in some absolutely fascinating, heartbreaking ways, like cherophobia. This is an actual psychological condition where some people are terrified of being too happy solely because they hold a deep-seated belief that an impending tragedy will immediately follow it. They literally self-sabotage their own joy as a defense mechanism against future pain.
So, the crucial point here is understanding the mechanics of our distress, particularly overthinking. Overthinking destroys you from the inside out because it is fundamentally a form of fear. But it becomes exceptionally dangerous because it mixes that fear with anticipation, raw emotion, selective memory, warped perception, and a hyperactive imagination. It is the perfect storm for total mental exhaustion.
Finally, we arrive at Section 4, How Memory Shapes the Mind, the final layer.
Let's look at how we actually store our experiences, and how those experiences ultimately define who we are. First off, our brains are super selective. We naturally remember information that we can easily relate to an existing memory, and we conveniently just forget the information we don't like. Our brains are basically curated libraries. And speaking of keeping the brain active, here's a totally fun fact. Psychology says that playing video games actually makes you more creative by forcing your brain to constantly adapt to new, simulated environments.
But nothing anchors the human mind quite like nostalgia. 70% of people love old songs not necessarily because of the music itself, but specifically because of the deep, personal memories attached to those tracks. Music acts like a time machine, instantly retrieving emotions straight from our past.
And this brilliantly illustrates the immense, lifelong responsibility we have in shaping the memories of others. Think about this quote: "The way we talk to our children becomes their inner voice. Every single word of encouragement or criticism you give a child is recorded, stored, and eventually replayed on a loop in their mind for the rest of their lives." It is a profound psychological truth.
Which brings us to the ultimate time frame of the human brain: 7 minutes. This is perhaps the most incredible and poetic fact in all of psychology regarding human memory.
When a person passes away, the brain doesn't just instantly shut off. There are up to 7 minutes of brain activity left. And during this final window, the mind gathers up a lifetime of data, playing back your most profound memories in a vivid, concluding dream sequence. It is the ultimate highlight reel of your existence, generated by the exact same brain we've spent this explainer decoding.
So, as we wrap up our visual journey through the psychology of you, I want to leave you with this one deeply provocative question to reflect on. Based on exactly how you are living today, what memories will play in your final 7 minutes? Thank you so much for exploring the mind with me.